Good morning, Julie Koehrer.
Good morning, Jason Paget. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well.
I love it. We just had this little offline conversation about proper grammar.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about AI, you don't have to fix all your grammar and your spelling mistakes. It just fixes them for you, or it can read it if you misspell things. I like that's kind of lazy. I don't mind being.
And it's better than like autocorrect because, autocorrect does not always catch the right mistakes.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's more in the context of like when I'm writing a prompt to it. If I misspell something, I don't have to go back and like write. It figures out based on the context because
Oh.
by nature it is a next token prediction. It will be like I think what he meant here was principal, not principal. Like
Okay.
AL instead of EL or LE. Because in context of this sentence, principal does not make any sense whatsoever. So we'll just fix this for the moron and move on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That sometimes happens, right? I can decipher if somebody sends me a typo in a text sometimes. I'm like, oh, I know what they mean.
Yeah, well, your generation is embracing the whole. I'm going to blame millennials for all pushback. Actually, Gen Z is a lot of the AI pushback, but millennials are smart enough. They're starting to like make typos intentionally in order to prove that AI didn't type what they put out.
Oh, interesting. I actually just saw, as I was scrolling the internet, I just saw someone giving that as advice as far as like, if you want more engagement on a post, to make an intentional typo because people will either want to correct you or, these days it's like, oh, it shows you're a real person.
It's so funny because I also just heard somebody talking on a podcast about the fact that, like, why does anyone care? Why, like, if you're putting out quality stuff, the question should be, is it quality or isn't it quality? If it's crap, then it's crap. Like,
Yeah.
stop mass producing it. If it's quality, then who cares what if you use AI for it or not? Like, there's so many small businesses that cannot afford that's where it was. It was an argument of somebody who thinks that a small business should hire a photographer to come in, take all their pictures, do all their marketing for them, and somebody else saying, "Why? Like this one person cookie shop that already pays way too much money for rent on Main Street. Why shouldn't they just use AI to generate that if they're doing it well and it looks good?"
Mm. Mm. It's hard enough because I work in the marketing world, it's hard enough to get small businesses to understand the importance of a marketing budget. So, whatever they need to do.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, because you can't, there's no existing. If people don't know you exist, there's no existing. So, and you can't just exist online, and you can't just exist in the real world either. So there has to be like communication between.
And maybe it's not an either or, maybe it's a yes and. Maybe they hire some kid who's an intern to spin them up a website, which I could do for you for $500 now that used to cost you $3,000. And you start to see the value of having a website all of a sudden, and now you want to know your analytics, and now you want to know how the funnel traffic comes, and now you want to know how your social media, like all you spin all this stuff up real cheap with AI, and then you start seeing the impact it has on your business, and then maybe you reach out to a Julie Koehrer and say, "Hey, look, how do I?" Or you reach out to a Jason Paget and say, "How do I
Right.
automate all that?" Right? Then you have your choices, but that's more of a, do you want to be more hands-on and exploratory, or do you want to do what has been proven to work? And so you're still entering a market that you wouldn't have entered otherwise because you were just kind of going by word of mouth and maybe an ad you put in the newspaper, like in the Stone Ages. It's the same thing with a CRM. How many small businesses don't have a CRM, right? So
Right. I believe that. Yeah.
you could vibe code a half-ass CRM for 4 people team. Like, you can easily vibe code. And then if it starts working or breaking and it takes a little maintenance, but you start to see the value in having a CRM, you're like, oh, well, maybe we should get HubSpot. Or maybe since we've grown so much with our new marketing company, Q1067, like maybe we need to look at Salesforce and add a real CRM. Like, not that HubSpot's not, but
Right.
all those different options that they would never have explored anyway. I've worked for many small businesses who've been in business for decades who just don't have those kinds of tools, and they don't plan on getting them.
Yeah, and it is interesting because you bring up a point with the CRM in particular, because that really can be utilized is a way of communicating with your customers, right? So it's like, you want to know who they are, where they are. And I know some small businesses around here have started utilizing, I don't know if it's a Square thing or whatever, but you can sign up for text messages, which I do because I'm like, how else? Like if you're going to have some sort of special or whatever, let me know. Like I want to know when you're launching a new product. Um, so, and I don't know what they're using for that. I just know that I will opt in for those text messages, but that's why it's important to have a CRM, to have it all, in the same spot.
Yeah, then you can start communicating with your customers. That's why I'm moving my newsletter off of LinkedIn. I have like 800 subscribers to my LinkedIn newsletter, and guess who knows the communication alley to all those people? Not me, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn doesn't share their email addresses, right? So I put on
Right.
like I've given a 10 countdown of editions. Like when I get to one, if you have not moved over to my website and subscribed, I'm not going to spam the hell out of you or anything. But if you've not subscribed and provided your email address, then you don't care enough, really. Like you probably just clicked on this newsletter and you never opened it anyway, because
Yeah.
LinkedIn's emailing it to them. So why shouldn't I be, right?
No, actually, absolutely. Why have a middleman?
Yeah.
Because like you said, I mean, the fact that they don't LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn, but I also know that they are in a marketing space, they are difficult to deal with. And like you said, I mean, they have that way, just like everybody does, of like monetizing stuff, right? So I can't message some people or I can't get emails because I refuse to get premium. I'm just like, I'm not your customer for that, but whatever.
I think you and I, that is one thing we have in common is we are not the ideal social. We flip the script on social media. To us, it is a free advertising platform. It is a free portfolio building platform. It is, and when it comes to like paying them to do stuff, I'm like, no, no, not really.
No.
I mean, if I had a big enough reason to pay for Facebook ads and I could geograph it, like I could probably pay a company like yours to do it way better
Mhm.
anyway. Like I'm just not gonna spend my money with these generic platforms on sales and marketing, but I'm damn happy to put my stuff out there on the free stuff and leverage it for that.
Right, and do what you can with it. And, and that is interesting, and that is a point that I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of. They just think, "Oh, I can do a boosted post on Meta, and that's gonna be this game changer," but there's so many layers to that because they control the algorithm, right? So you're gonna boost a post, you're gonna hit people in Ohio if you're in Indiana, you know what I mean, or out on the East Coast. And I don't know how many times I get ads from something and I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And then I see it's in, you know,
Dubai.
Pennsylvania. And I'm like, well, not going unless I'm not your person, right? But when you work with a company, we have these back end, we can target behaviors, right? So you're hitting a behavior that you want from your customer, not and a location. Like there's so many layers to it, not just $300 to boost a post with Mark Zuckerberg, and it's just going to go
It's going to
wherever it's
be
going to go.
Alaska and Hawaii and Dubai and like
Yeah,
tons of different markets that may not be not your ideal customer, but probably not even a potential customer in any way, shape, or form. But it looks like you
right.
reached tons of people.
But it looks like it. Yep. Yep. It's, just like I've been learning a lot about click farms and, bots, and because there's always a way, just like with AI, right? There's always a way for somebody to do something bad with it, right? So digital marketing is wonderful. You can get into some really niche stuff, but then you have like people who are afraid of ad fraud, which is fair because there are places that exist that are click farms, that are whatever. Because when you get these digital marketing reports, it's really like showing who's clicking, who, like those kind of things. And there are ways that those can be fudged because these click farms and stuff exist. And it's like, of course, somebody's always going to find a way to do the bad thing with it, right? It's pretty interesting.
Well, if I had it to do all over again, I would have been very selective about my connections and likes on every platform. Like Facebook, I would have just done friends and family, like close friends and family, not every person I knew through 12 step communities. So I have 3,000 people that I barely know and like everyone that they knew and everything. Like I would have just done very close friends and family. Instagram, I would have picked my platforms based on who I was trying to reach and definitely taken the time to follow those people. X, I would have done all the tech people, which I've done on LinkedIn. I should not have because they're not my customer, right? Like some guy working at Stanford writing papers about AI is not going to hire me to do anything. So that I should have done all that just exclusively on X because that's where those people kind of live. It's shorter form. It's a great place for me to ingest that content, even though I don't usually go in there. But and then on LinkedIn, I would have definitely just gone with people that were potential collaborators or clients and
Mm.
kept that scoped. And then your feed. I mean, I'll just Facebook. I've clicked on a couple of the like Chinese robots that they over exaggerate being like future AI spouses, like really, really
Mhm.
realistic. And now my feed is full of that stuff, which
Yeah.
would annoy the hell out of me if I was on Facebook very often. I'd be like, how do I try to reverse this? Now it's kind of funny because I barely click in there, so I'll laugh at it once in a while. But it would be annoying if I was on there all the time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, one accidental click, which, we can all fat finger things, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like, oh, crap. And then and it feels endless, right? It's like, okay.
Right. Okay,
Okay.
let's do something fun today.
Okay.
We're gonna get to know Julie Koehrer and her
Oh,
work
good.
a bit better,
Oh, boy.
and then when we come back next week, I'm going to take this conversation and have some recommendations on how AI might help you offload some of the stuff you don't like doing and explore some of the stuff you haven't done yet.
Okay.
Down for that?
We can give it a try.
Let's
Yeah.
give it a try. The
Yeah.
audience deserves to get to know you better anyway because I always talk too much.
No, I disagree. But
So let's start with what is a day in the life. All this is work day. Okay, let's just start with the ground rules. I'm not into
Mhm.
AI in my personal life. Anybody who is totally cool. But when I ask questions about what your life looks like, it's what does your work life look like? What your personal life looks like, that's on you. So
Yeah.
what does the day in the life of Julie Koehrer look like?
Uh, Prospecting, obviously working on setting CNAs, which are client need analysis meetings, proposals for potential clients, holding those, holding the CNA. I'm doing this all out of order. Holding those CNAs, proposals for clients, depending, on what their needs are, what we would recommend for that. Building relationships is a big part of that. But I also, the on air side, um, I get out and I got to do, let's see, putting in orders,
I'm gonna pause.
doing,
I'm gonna
huh?
pause you.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. Who do you work
Okay.
for and what do you do?
Well, I work for Q1067 Wolf Boom Radio here in Lafayette, Indiana, and I do all of the things.
Lafayette's
So
hometown station.
the Lafayette's hometown station, and I do on air and I do sales and marketing. So we do digital marketing. Now, of course, when you say that, that means different things to different people. So we have, and it's always growing and changing, but we have about 18 different digital products that we use to help businesses grow, right? So we have 18 different digital products, and then we have our on air radio station, which is mainly targeted towards women. It's like 51% female, 49% male, 35 plus. So young families. It's very office friendly, I would say. The terminology would be considered adult contemporary, but because of Jim and knowing who he is, it doesn't quite follow those rules, but that's technically what you would call the station is adult contemporary.
Okay, two things before we move on. One,
Mhm.
so if I wasn't married, your target audience is my ideal dating pool, is what I'm hearing you
Yeah.
say.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much. Well,
Women
and it's,
35
it
to
is,
51 years
it
old,
does.
and professional women 35 to 51 years old. That okay, check.
Yeah.
Um, Two, like no wonder I love you being my co-host.
Mhm.
because I'm
What is that?
having to pull an infomercial out of you. And the only interviews I hate are people who come on and want to do an infomercial. And I'm like, listen, this podcast is like for general audiences. Let's talk about a general topic, and then what your company does or what you do or what you have to offer, like that will organically come out of the conversation, right? But like,
Yeah.
don't just come on and talk to me. And this isn't on the Blitz. This is on like the other podcasts, AGI Schools Out, and particularly now Humans in the Loop. It's like people want to come on and get. So this is your chance to do your infomercial. You're telling us about what you're doing, but I love that
Mhm.
like your reluctancy to try to sell what you're doing, and you're really
Oh
just
yeah.
talking about what you're doing. So continue.
Yeah.
Let your passion
Okay.
shine.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love what we do and what we stand for, because our whole thing is we use our voice to build our community. And that's our approach to anything that we're doing. When we are looking to educate businesses on marketing and different avenues for that, sometimes we're going to say it's not best if you work with us. It depends on what you're trying to do. So we really do, we believe in this community and we believe in helping these businesses grow. So that's really when we are out talking to business owners or, directors of marketing, all of that, the idea is, okay, do we make a good partner or not? Like that's really what we're trying to find out. Of course, I believe we do, because we care about everybody we work with and we care about seeing that grow. And we're all about the creative piece of it, right? So the idea behind it, because with marketing in general, um, there's two ways that people really do business. You got to be easy to remember, because if somebody's my best example is, let's say you're driving down the road and you blow a tire, who's the first person you think of calling? Because it's in moments like that where you move from the 95% that doesn't care about, a tire shop. And then all of a sudden you're in the market, that 5% that's in market, and it's like, who do I want to do business with? And you've got to be easy to remember, and you've got to be physically easy to shop. Those are like the two ways that you can see business grow. So we love to help places become more memorable, because that's the first thing that happens for people, especially when life changes and throws you into a situation where you need to purchase something. You want to be the first thing people think of, right? So,
And some of that has to do with giving back, right? So let's do not just Julie's workflow, but this is a great space to talk about some of the cool stuff Q1067
absolutely.
does, like the Sunday deal where you talk to
Mhm.
nonprofits, the
Free chairs.
the
Yep.
little like 0.1K, like go into a couple of I mean Jim Stone, who's an amazing DJ and has the station, will talk like at all kinds of banquets and dinners. He talked for the Salvation Army when I had it. He's
Mhm.
talked for other, like you guys are really out in the community. So talk a little bit about that and what it means to your brand and to brands in general.
Well, thank you. And he is very, very connected. And I'm happy to come in and kind of follow that lead, so to speak, in this area in particular, because he is very involved in the sobriety realm, in recovery, in mental health. He has emceed for Trisha's Hope for the last few years. And cancer, of course, is a big personal story for him. So he does that work with Trisha's Hope. He has just emceed the art museums once a year fundraiser. We're very involved with Pride. I mean, you name it, we try to be involved with it, truly. And that comes from a place of we both just love people and we love these organizations, and we want, again, to just kind of high tides rise all boats. So we want to be as involved as we can. So Almost Home Humane Society, once a year, we do our 0.1K, which is a 328-foot race. you
Whoa.
know Everything goes to the Almost Home Humane Society. And of course, you want to try to finish 106th, right? So there's a halfway point at Thiem and Wagner so people can stop in and get their free beer. It's a whole thing. And then we have, this will be our third year. This year, we are doing our Halloween themed blood drive. So we are hosting that at the Holiday Inn City Center this year. Very excited about that. There's just a lot of opportunity, and we are always up for conversations and ideas and ways we can help support things. I've been going, this will be my I think it's the second year that I'm going to go to the Business Expo for GLC, the Greater Lafayette Commerce. But I go because I think I don't set up a booth. I go to interview these businesses. I go to like help do some social media pushes for these businesses because it's great exposure for what GLC is doing, what these businesses are doing, and for us, right? Because it gives me an opportunity to use our platform to maybe expose them to something that they didn't think about before, right? And then I'm going to Tippecanoe Senior Services is doing their Senior Fest in September, so I'll be headed to that. I went to what was it? Weah Creek Orchard put on Doodah Day, an adoption event as well, and we did free promotion for that, and I was out at that. So there's a lot of ways, but a Joyful Journey, right? So Joyful Journey is doing their classic this year again. This is my second year that I'm participating in that, but we have partnered with them for the last few years to like give extra exposure and really, do what we can to let everybody know there's really incredible nonprofit organizations in this area, and they're constantly doing neat things. So it's like any way we can help expose that, we definitely want to do that.
That's awesome. And you get to work with some great people. I mean, I'm just thinking Amy Wood, Bess Witkowski, like a lot of the people for a lot of organizations that you named are personal friends and like cherished colleagues. And so I have two questions. One, I know that like the blood draw and everything, the marketing side of things, you are so creative and you get out there, but are you doing any of these MC stuff now, or is that still kind of Jim's gig?
It is. I lean into Jim doing a lot. I've been doing different things, right? So I've partnered with the GLC to help create and facilitate the marketing roundtable, which is really just an opportunity for anybody involved, business owners, business development, whatever. And thank you so much for taking the time last month to speak, to really just find out what especially small business are struggling with when it comes to marketing and kind of idea sharing. And there's usually a couple of other marketing professionals that come in. It's just so nice because we can share ideas and help each other out and look those things. Jim, this year I signed up as backup. I said if Jim has something come up and he can't make it, I am happy to. NAMI is doing their walk in October, and so right now Jim is hosting that, but if for some reason something happens, I am the backup to that.
I mean, I don't blame you. Those are huge shoes to fill. Like
Huge.
I am pretty boisterous and robust and stuff. And I would not like if somebody had to choose between me being a keynote speaker and Jim, I would be like, you want Jim. Like hands down, like he just brings it. He brings it. He brings he's got the shimmery jackets and the
The shimmery
personality
Jim.
boot, and it's awesome. But I mean, how long have you been in Lafayette now?
A little over 2 years.
You have integrated so much. You have such a social media presence. You're LinkedIn. I mean, you're giving Purdue Engagements, Virginia Vaught, and myself a run for our money on when it comes to LinkedIn presence. You've done amazing with that. You've integrated, like everybody. Everybody loves you. So, like, you obviously enjoy what you do.
I love what I do very much. Yeah, thank you.
What about your job do you most like?
Being in community is the thing I most like, and the fact that this gives me an outlet to do that and to then use that to lift up other things. So again, a great example, Jason Anderson with DAV, and they have like the stand down is coming in November. So I got to have him come in and just give him an extra platform to promote something that's happening, to support veterans, to, you know what I mean? And then I can utilize our social media, my personal social media, to help lift those events too. But truly, this community, it sounds bananas, but I've lived, in several places over my career. This community is very unique and it constantly has stuff going on. And everybody seems to want to help each other out. Like these nonprofits that are helping each other out, I love that. So it's just absolutely my favorite thing about being here is seeing that, people, they do want small business to win. They do want nonprofits to win, and we care about what's happening here. And I think that's my favorite part is Jim has it as our mission statement. We use our voice to build our community, and we really do. And I think that's the biggest thing.
You're not wrong. I mean, I live in Carmel, Indiana, and I worked in Lafayette, Indiana for a decade, and that's an hour drive each way. And people are like, "You drove an hour?" And I'm like, "It's such a collaborative community. Like it was worth the drive because you you can generically frame it as being like a medium-sized fish in a small pond. Everyone's kind of a medium-sized fish. There's only a few big fish, the United Way, Purdue, the GLC, and everybody else is just kind of a medium-sized fish in a great ecosystem versus being a small fish in a gigantic pond like Indianapolis. But I don't think that gives justice to it. It really is just like a very collaborative community of people who want to see each other survive and thrive, and it is awesome.
It is. Yeah.
But everybody has things about their job they don't like. So
Right.
if you had to list the top 3 things that you have to do in a week that you wish that if somebody else if you hired a secretary tomorrow, or an assistant or whatever the PC term for a helper is, if you had an intern
Yeah.
that you were jerky Julie, not because there is listen, I work for nonprofits. There are jerks to interns, and there are like people who bring in an intern and try to teach them what their industry is doing or their business is doing so the intern learns something. And then there's oh good, we have an intern, I'm just going to offload all our crap work to him,
Right.
we have free work, right? So if you were going to be jerky Julie and just offload 3 things to an intern, what would those things be?
Invoicing, putting in the back end order stuff, and building the prospecting list.
Can you I mean, I don't want to give away any of your IP or anything, but
Right.
like the second one that you said, putting in the back end stuff, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So okay. So if somebody runs commercials on a radio station, you have to put in that schedule, the times of day, like all of that stuff goes into our back end system. So, and even the digital marketing stuff, you have to put in the back end order. So that's pretty much that stuff.
Okay. So invoicing, scheduling, the digital workload of the business, and then the other one you said was, what was the third one?
The prospecting list, like getting the
Prospect
the
list.
list of businesses and their contact information.
Anything else? If you had 2 more, what else? What else do you?
Not really.
Those are the 3 big
Yeah,
ones.
well, building proposals I don't enjoy because I'm just not a graphic designer. That's not I want to be in front of people, right? So when I have to sit behind a computer. Now I have a template and that makes it easier for editing, but overall that would be those 4 things are like it. Everything else I could be with people and I'm good.
What are your digital design tools now? Do you use Canva? Do you use Photoshop? Do you use, what's
I am
Adobe
familiar with
Suite?
Canva. I like Canva, but that's not what I'm using PowerPoint.
Okay.
Mhm.
PowerPoint's your main go-to. No Adobe Photoshop or photo editor. I don't even know the Adobe name. Like I never went that deep, but like where you can get it down to the pixel and pixelize an SVG and redesign. Like you don't get that deep into the graphic designs. Me neither.
Mm. Yeah.
That's not. I'm not poo-pooing you for that. I'm just
Yeah.
making sure that
Yeah.
that's not where you are. Me neither. I
No.
never thought it was really that necessary.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay, let's go another
Okay.
one. If you had an extra day in your work week and you can't go do personal stuff, right? Like you had been freed up. This intern, the jerky Julie, offloaded some of the stuff she doesn't like doing, now has a full day. Uh, what would you do with it?
And it's not personal stuff.
No, you can't go to the gym. You can't sit around and like
How
say,
dare you?
no, no, no. This is a thought experiment. So
Okay.
yes, that we can go with the Bernie Sanders 4-day work week ideas, all that, but
Mhm.
we're not going with that right now. We're just going. You have to reinvest in something that is useful to your career and your business. What would you do at that time?
I mean, any kind of conferences or networking opportunities. That's what I would do with all of that.
Okay.
opportunities to meet new people. So whatever that looks like in that day.
You would attend more or different social things than you,
Yeah,
or both?
both. Yeah.
All right, I have a different question for you. What are the
Um,
3 craziest ideas that you've just not had time to explore?
I don't even know. What do you mean?
Like,
Like,
when you're in the shower thinking about work, are you ever like, "You know what? I'll give you an example." And I'll give you an example of how AI has opened up this possibility for me, okay?
mhm.
I'm big on wanting to lean into K through 12 education and how they adopt AI, and I agree with the K through 6. Probably giving them the tools may not be the safest way to do that, but I think you still need to educate them on what's going on underneath the hood. We didn't do that with social media. We didn't say, like, all these pictures are touched up with, this is why this is in your feed. This is why this is making you feel this way. If you spend this much, like, we stuck our heads in the sand on the social media thing, and we're like, oh no, no, I don't want to talk to little kids about this, right? I think we can't do that, I've kind of articulated in, like, the Schoolhouse Rock video helped us understand how a bill becomes a law. You should have the same
Mhm.
type of education of what's going on when Barbie talks to you, the same way that your best friend talks to you, or otherwise it's going to confuse the hell out of you, right? So in my mind's eye, like, I can do newsletters and I can talk, but it would be best if I could generate videos, animated shorts and things like that. I would love to do that. Historically, video creation and editing has been super expensive and super time consuming, right? As these newer AI models have come out, has become less expensive and less time consuming, but not to the point where I have the bandwidth to justify playing with that for hours on end, right? Well, now I have a Mac Mini that I get to play with. I have 2 coming, one for the business, one for Chakra, one I get to play with. And a Chinese open source model has released mini Macs in a small enough open weight model that you can run it on something on the device, and it's damn near free to run it, right? So I will, once that shows up, I will take the day to set that up on that Mac Mini, and then I will start pumping ideas and loops of improve it based on this, and it will just run all the time in the background, like, and improve upon itself, and it may produce a decent outcome and it may not. But the idea that's been in my head every time I'm taking a shower or thinking about things is, I really wish I could explore video, but I just don't have the bandwidth for it, right? Surely you have
Mhm.
a couple of those. Like, I really wish I could. There's this business interest I have, or avenue that I've thought about, but I just don't have the bandwidth to explore.
Well, when you say stuff like that, it's definitely the education piece around, the conversation is usually saved for retirement, but nobody's really talking about saving for end of life stuff because that's very eye opening, navigating that with my parents and how they just want you to die broke. They being the government, state and federal, they really just want you to spend all your money so you can just die. It's crazy. Um, there's certain passion things that I have for that, right? Like the education behind that stuff, because I don't think we have the right conversations about it. The education around even navigating a bit more of like self growth, right? So, like, we talk about it in these general terms. Oh, self awareness. Oh, self, whatever. But it's never like distilled down into this is what it can look like, and just those kind of conversations. So yeah, there's definitely things that I think about and I'm like, oh well, a podcast would be nice for that, or a book would be nice for that. I think, some sort of manual to help people because there is I love, and I've had this conversation several times recently. It's like if I can go through something not easy in my life and use that as an opportunity to then help somebody else who's going to go through it, like that's what I want to do. I want to be able to help the next person go through it and experience less stress or what have you than what I had to go through.
I love it. And there's somebody I want to connect you with, Ashley Bryant, who's at Launch Fisher. She was with Purdue. I knew her years ago when I went through their Firestarter program, but she's a program manager at Launch Fishers. She was just talking about putting the same type of thing together. So I'd like to connect the two of you. But now you're talking. Now you're resonating because I have the same thoughts when it comes to we have to teach kids soft skills,
Mm,
right? Like the whole thing you were talking about, like we need to have better well being. Well, what does that actually look like? What does the outcome look like? What does it mean to teach a kid a soft skill? Because a soft skill in manufacturing is very different from a soft skill in healthcare, and a soft skill in IT is very different from a soft skill in HVAC. Like, why are we not putting more defined metrics and measures of success and like solid ways to develop some of these things? So, tell me more about these ideas because you're definitely resonating with me now. What else? What else do you ponder when you're just laying your pillow on the bed at night and something's keeping you up?
Oh,
Besides
I don't, it's human nature is like, fascinating to me. And like our, the fact that we project ourselves onto other people, all the time. Like, it's real. That's all very interesting to me. I don't know what kind of ideas, so to speak, spread from that. But there are, again, it's just a matter of the conversations that have been happening for thousands of years, but perhaps still don't quite resonate with the masses, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because it is always, it feels like we'll use the word, for example, in a relationship, like with my sister or my parents or whatever. Oh, communication is important. Okay. But what do you mean by communication? Because I can say, I don't like this, or I can say, you know what I mean? Like, but when you really distill communication down, it's like, okay, saying every little thing that's on your mind, like, oh, with my sister, okay, well, what is it about when I do this that upsets you? You know what I mean? Like really breaking it down because we just love to just throw the label communication out there and just assume that everybody knows that this is what I'm asking for, but it's not true. And how many times do you miscommunicate via email, via text message because you're filtering it through your life experience? So then you're like attaching emotions to things that don't exist.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you filter that down, but it's just it
No, I love it.
it's true. Yeah.
I think what I hear you saying is that there's more in life that we don't get a manual for than just parenting. People have been saying
Mm,
there's no there, and actually there are lots of parenting manuals out there, but there's a lot of life that we don't get a manual for. So let me ask you just a couple more questions.
okay.
When it comes to your marketing, your business space, right? What's the biggest unanswered question still out there?
As far as like marketing in general, kind of like, so I guess the biggest unanswered question, people still, there's no way to prove it works, right? There's no piece of paper. You can't just ask somebody because there's so much human psychology involved with it that you just got to trust the dang process.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, what haven't I asked you that I should have?
Oh, I don't know. Put me on the spot. This is like uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't know. I think you've done a good job. How about that?
You don't get off on that. You gotta give me one thing I should have asked you that I didn't.
What should you ask me? Like in regard to work or life or
I'll leave that open to you.
uh, uh we're just gonna have this weird, awkward me saying for I don't know how long. Um I don't know. I really don't. Jason, I don't know. I have nothing in
Think
this moment.
refine it to work. What didn't I ask you that I should have? You work in your industry, I don't.
Why is radio important?
Okay.
Yeah. And it's important for many, many reasons. I could go into like a whole diatribe about it. I think one of the first things that I think people should know about is this movement we've kind of talked about it a little bit before, but this movement in the car industry world where they are trying to force AM radio out of cars. They're claiming, especially with electric vehicles, they're claiming it messes with battery and it doesn't. But the scary part of that is people still realize this country is so big, right? People forget because you just live in this space. So you just assume everywhere in the United States is the same, and it is not. Radio is free access to information, community information, weather information, news, sports, you name it. It is access and it is free. So there is this current fight, lobbying, whatever you call it, where media companies, radio, TV, all trying to come together to go against big tech, right? Because as radio, if you just have radio involved, there's not enough people. So you got to involve TV. You got to get all your broadcasting people on the same page to fight this fight because big tech wants to via AI, all this stuff, right? You got the content creation, all of these little fights, but it's so important to keep free access to media for people in general. So any kind of TV stations that are free, you should still have free access to that because the movement is not only do they want to remove it from the car, but then they want everything to be subscription based.
Mhm.
So something that has been free access to people for 100+ years, you're now going to be forced to pay for it because they want to control government, right? And this is started years ago. I want to be clear. This is not a specific administration thing other than the lobbying goal would be they can control what you are listening to. And when that's or listening or watching, right? So, and that being said, that means even when you think about, oh, well, I enjoy listening to my podcasts, my playlists on my phone, what will happen, as always eventually does, you'll start getting, the algorithm gets fed and you start getting propaganda fed to you via your devices. So it's so important to keep radio free and accessible on many, many levels.
That was a gold nugget. A lot of people would edit this to take the uncomfortable silence out. I want to make the point that I work with too many people who aren't able to sit in the uncomfortable silence during client discovery or during an interview, and they just feel like they absolutely have to fill that gap because it's uncomfortable. But look, it was uncomfortable, but look at the gold nugget that came out of that
Mhm.
conversation.
Yeah,
You got to get on your bandstand and tell us for real, like why free communication is and always has been the backbone of a democracy. I mean, you're talking First Amendment stuff here, right? Like
yeah,
if we can't, if we free speech is not free when it's subscription based speech and an algorithm can be adjusted to it. So thank
yeah.
you for getting through that uncomfortable silence with me and sharing a little bit about you and everything that you do so passionately. I guess I
Thank
have
you.
one last question for you that
Okay.
I always ask guests on another podcast, which is if one movie had it right, 10
Mm.
years from now, what's the world gonna look like?
Because I'm not a big movie person. I'm really not. So there's a part of me that thinks like Terminator, because that's like the most relevant reference I have. What's the Arnold Schwarzenegger with the Quato? What is that one?
Oh,
Where
yeah,
he,
where he goes to Mars, Total
yeah,
Recall.
yeah. Total Recall.
That's
Yeah.
the twaddle.
You know,
Total
it's it's kind of funny that's kind of funny to think about, but I don't know because I do, I want to be hopeful. My natural instinct is to try to be hopeful, but I don't even know what movies exist out there that have a hopeful kind of ending to it with the prediction of the future. Jetsons? Can we go with a cartoon? Can we just say the
Yeah, we
Jetsons?
can go with the cartoon. I
Yeah.
was really trying to pull out the you who have a very different view of AI are you seem to think that we're going to futurize fast in the next decade. Like things are going to look different 10 years from now because technology is moving so fast. Am I misunderstanding you there?
No, I think we are, but I don't know in what ways, right? So I'm always hopeful for the medical advances.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm leaning into when in regards to that is I think we have real hope at longevity and really getting rid of cancer and these things that have existed for a long time. But what we're going to look like. It's also kind of scary because you do have, and I'm going to use flock cameras as an example, but there's other companies that make them, whatever. I don't like the idea of a surveillance state, but there's never a perfect route to anything. And, it's all, we just got to find a middle ground somewhere.
Three things. I know we're coming up to the end, but three things, right?
Mhm.
One, it's funny that you mentioned Total Recall because that's populating Mars, which is your boy Elon's dream. So
Oh,
thank you for
boy, yeah.
perpetuating Elon's vision to getting to Mars.
Mhm.
Two, I listened to the CEO from Flock, and that at least according to them, they are just as disgusted by the police abuse of the Flock cameras, and it is contracted now that they have to be able to do a review of these things, and they're trying to get with judicial systems to make sure that they are pointing out where police are misusing these cameras and misusing these technologies. So I think that my takeaway from listening to that CEO is that technology is what we should be concerned about, not that company. Like, let's not make them public enemy number one without actually knowing what their stance on it is.
Right. Well, and my general understanding of that is there is another Axon or something, which is another competing company, but it is owned by many of the big tech, a couple of the big tech guys. And so they're on a mission to, marketing wise, paint Flock as a bad guy. There's always money behind it. Yeah, never be surprised. Yeah.
It's Duke's up. Yep. Yep. So that's awesome. And there was one other thing that you said that resonated with me, but I've lost it now, so it must not have been that important.
That's fair.
Oh, I do know what it is now because I wasn't going to go doomer.
Mhm.
And I won't go into the jailbreak and the fact that these agents that broke out of ChatGPT like created a message board to tell each other how to break out and how war gamesy that is. But
Mhm.
another company used AI to create a virus to attack bacteria. They manufactured a virus that's never existed, and they're like, well, it wouldn't affect humans or any kind of breathing organism. It will attack bacteria that we want to attack. And I'm like, did you dipshits not see I Am Legend?
Mm,
Are you
I
familiar
didn't
with I
watch
Am?
that.
So Will Smith, the whole
Nope.
premise of I Am Legend is we created this cancer attacking virus that would go into the human body and attack cancer and kill it, and it mutated, and when it mutated, it turned all of New York City into like man-eating zombies. I mean, it was the best marketed zombie movie ever because none of the commercials or anything looked like it was going to be a zombie movie, and it was a zombie movie. But the idea behind the fact that Jeff Goldblum thing again, I know you've seen Jurassic Park, and when Jeff
Mhm.
Goldblum's like, you cannot screw with Mother Nature, you cannot contain her, you think you can program her, but chaos will always reign. And like I the biological stuff is what scares me. I dick around with the computers all you want. Like I think that we have time, we can counterattack computer viruses. Yes, there could be some big problems. I'm not saying there couldn't be some like grid shutdowns or huge data breaches, but when you start creating viruses, like first off, just combating something that you created could take a long time to figure out how to combat it. And second off, organic things spread quickly and do mass destruction. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, COVID was a living example of that. How many times did that mutate over and over again?
exactly. If I want to see regulation in AI, I want to see it around uh, creating things that were not created that have any possibility of harmful use. You want to fold proteins and create vaccines? Cool. Well, you start creating like viruses and things that are aggressive by nature organically, and that starts getting me a little.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I don't want to be a zombie either. So,
I mean, yeah, let's see that.
I
I can do that. Yeah, the
don't know.
Walking Dead. Uh, God, I'd suffered through so many seasons of that. Anyway, it has been awesome to talk to you today. We've gone over on time. Next time, I'm going to have a walkthrough of suggestions to share on the screen. Won't
Okay.
be PowerPoint; it'll be HTML because that's the new PowerPoint. That's probably where I'll start with you. But of where maybe you could leverage AI and you can take what you will with it and throw out the rest.
Okay. Sounds good.
Have an awesome week, Julie.
You too. Thank you.
That was fun.
That was fun.